The other things that we've seen is bad messaging or businesses paying more for alternative packaging and more siloed approaches. So another one we heard recently was a business trying to reduce their food waste. They saw that a lot of rice was being wasted in their front of house and their plate waste. And the problem with that is they were telling the business that their customers, we give out free refills, because they wanted to reduce the portion size, and they were worried that their customers would be upset by the reduced portion size. And so they started to advertise free refills. But the problem with advertising free refills, as you probably can guess, is that you attract the wrong kind of customer. And instead, what you should be doing is educating your customers about the problems of food waste and involve them in your sustainability journey and educate them so that they know why you have reduced the size of the portions of your rice dishes. And so what we suggest is, really consult an expert to help you do your project properly, so that you're not just kind of trial and error all the time, because it's hard to gain the trust back then of your team if you run these projects that are not successful. So we suggest using nudges, defaults, behavior science, understanding how people operate. And one example of a really good food waste project is when a canteen, they managed to reduce their food waste by 44% in a canteen situation over 12 weeks, just from doing 3 things, what we call nudges, things that do not require big policy change. And the first one was putting in clear plastic bags. So when people were putting their plate waste in, they could see how much waste they were wasting. And you can also do this on in a canteen where you're a staff canteen. So it doesn't have to be in a public canteen. It can also be inside your own business, if you serve a lot of food in your own business. First one was a plastic bag. The second one was with that plastic bag, there was weighing, so you could see how much on a daily basis that you were wasting. So that's one of the nudges. The second one was portion control, so smaller portions at the point of sale, with a physical example of the size of the dish that you were getting, so you knew exactly how big the portion was. And secondly, education at the table. So at the table, you had some information about the challenges of food waste, lots of facts and figures like greenhouse gas emissions from the food system, from waste, and what it's doing along the whole supply chain, not just wasting food, but all the inputs like water, degradation of soil, air pollution, everything that's happening along the supply chain because of the food growing. And that was a great, successful project. And then we had a business we were talking to that they were paying in Hong Kong for alternative packaging. And this was in the early days, a few years back. They were wasting money, at least 20% increase on buying PLA. And it's not to say that plant-based packaging is not good. It's just that in Hong Kong, there is no facility to break it down. So you don't have the landfill facilities you don't have the facilities to break it down, so it ends up in the landfills, and so that is not good. So what this business had to do instead was pay extra again to have a special delivery to have it broken down at the temperature that it needed to be. So make sure you understand the end of life with the packaging that you're buying. Thirdly, this one is on emissions. If you're too focused on emissions, similarly from a previous example, you're not seeing the big picture. For example, I'll give you another example. Chickens, hens laying eggs, when they are, of course, when they're cramped together, the emissions are lower because you don't have all of them running around, and the data shows that emissions are lower when you have hens inside a smaller space. But of course, the question is that ethical? So you have to balance all of the different challenges around sustainability to make sure that you're aware of some of those trade-offs.